Hello. Welcome, gardeners and friends of gardeners. I'm so glad you're here. You may have heard the story about Colin, the boy from Michigan who told his mom that he didn't want to have a birthday party because he didn't have any friends to invite. You see, Colin has Asperger's, which is usually described as someone who is socially awkward and maybe even a few other quirks. It seems that Colin even sits alone at lunch in the school office because no one will sit with him. Because of this, his mother decided to create a Happy Birthday Colin Facebook page. She was hoping to surprise Colin with maybe a few comments or maybe even a few cards for his birthday. These are the exact words to her request. Please send Colin virtual birthday wishes so that on his 11th birthday, March 9th, Colin can see how much he is loved. Well, it seems that Colin certainly is loved. To date, that page has received 2.2 million likes. The local post office estimates that 78,000 pieces of mail have been delivered to their house, and the family has even had to rent 2 storage units to store everything he received. Good Morning America had a surprise birthday party for him on air, and he even got to go to Disney World. I've recently learned that a teen band called Galvanized Souls invited him to be in their music video. The song's called Carry On, and it's about overcoming obstacles. Whatever your thoughts are about Facebook, you have to admit that it's a God thing for so many people to reach out and show their love to a boy they didn't even know. I think friends are amazing. Friends are very special in my life, and I'd like to share with you a few stories about my friends and how they've made a difference to me. The first friend I remember having is Lisa. Lisa lived right next door to me. She lives with her parents and 2 brothers next door to my family in Sunnybrook Acres in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Lisa's a year older than me. We both had the same color 10-speed Schwinn varsity bicycles. It's amazing how many people had those because they laughed. We would be on those bikes all day during the summer. The only rule is we had to be home by dark. Occasionally we'd miss curfew, and we would be grounded to our rooms for the evening. That didn't really matter to us because we'd just run to our rooms and open our bedroom windows and continue the conversation because our bedrooms faced each other. Lisa's been friends with me for most of my 52 years. She is somebody I can talk to when I'm happy or when I'm sad. We don't live in the same city anymore, and sometimes we won't talk for 6 months. Then one of us will pick up the phone and we're back to being besties. When we were younger, we would talk about boys and clothes, maybe how strict our parents were. But as we got older, we started talking about more serious things. Becoming mothers, the illnesses and deaths of our parents, our own health scares, and even how challenging motherhood really was. It was after one of these particularly serious phone calls that Lisa said it. Something I'd only said to my mom and dad, maybe my brother, mistakenly to a boy or 2, and rightfully to my family. She said, "I love you." I don't even remember what I said. Those were words I didn't give away very freely at the time. But when I hung up the phone, I realized I really did love Lisa. She was and is a very special person in my life. Actually, there are a lot of special people in my life. They make me better, stronger, and happier, and I do love them. Our scripture for today is from Proverbs 27, verse 17. You use steel to sharpen steel, and one friend sharpens another. I think this means that true friends are people who make us better human beings. Now, you may have brought a friend here today, or you may just have them in your heart today, but regardless, I'd like us to celebrate those friends today. When I was growing up, I had some friends called Maureen, Laura, Sue. They were actually 3 people, but we were together so much, that's how it sounded. If you add my name to it, it was Maureen, Laura, Sue, Betty. They will never know how much they impacted my life. My parents were wonderful and loving people, but they were also alcoholics. So when I got to go over and have dinner or a sleepover at Maureen, Laura, Sue's, I kind of got to see a normal family. I didn't realize that you could have dinner without someone arguing or throwing something. I also didn't realize that not all dads sat next to the refrigerator waiting for 9 a.m. to come because that's when Mom said he could have his first beer on a Saturday. And I did say 9 a.m. Spending time with them and their families made me envision a future as I wanted it to be, instead of the distorted reality that I was living in. You never know when you're making a difference with someone just by being their friend. Friends are the people we choose to be in our life. No offense to family, but you're kind of stuck with who you're related to. With friends, it's your choice. My friends Jerry and Linda are two great choices that I've made. Our family calls them Jinda. Jerry, Linda, kind of like Brangelina. Jerry was a mentor of mine at work, and when I got to be friends with him outside of work, I got to know his wife, Linda. Together, the two of them make me laugh, they make me think, and they also inspire me to be the best mom, wife, and friend I can be. I can go on about the friends I've made and the great choices I've made. There's Brenda, who was a college roommate who would dance with me on the bars on Saturday night. Not just in the bars, but on the bars. But at the same time, Brenda was the person who introduced me to God and helped me get to know God in a way that I hadn't been able to in the past 21 years of sitting in church pews in my Sunday best. There's Julie, who taught me the meaning of acceptance, tolerance, and the importance of being true to yourself. Julie welcomed me into her world and introduced me to so many wonderful people that I wouldn't have gotten to know otherwise. There's Debbie, who's extremely intelligent and analytical, which is pretty much the opposite of what I am. We solve the world's problems as well as some of our own on our lunchtime walks, occasionally over a pedicure or over a glass of wine. Debbie knows me, understands me, and accepts me despite the many flaws I have. There's Susan, who lived across the street from me when I was a young mother. We bonded over diapers, book reports, and trick-or-treating. I respect and love Susan so much that if anything happens to me and my husband, her and her husband get my kids. Now, Susan knows my kids, so she might not take this as a compliment, but it really is the biggest compliment I could give anyone. Susan is one of the Girls Party Girls. This is a group of 20 women that get together once a year just to have fun. The ringleader is Vicky. Vicky is the coolest and most down-to-earth person I know. Vicky started getting us all together because she wanted to get to know her neighbors. We were all really busy with young children and with our jobs, and we weren't really making time for friendships. So Vicky started planning a full weekend of activities for us. She even said that if anything happens to her, like she gets cancer, she wants to make sure that there are people in the neighborhood that will take care of her family. We start the girls' party on a Friday night, and it lasts through Saturday night. We can't do the same thing twice. That's one of the rules. We always do something athletic, something artistic, something cultural, and we always shop for one thing, and it's usually something girly. We've done a lot of different things. We've played volleyball, Tai Chi, and yoga. We've done glass blowing, which is you have a long pole, and you're at one end, and at the other end, there's the oven, and you've got melted glass, and you're making it into shapes. And the oven is like 2,000 degrees. It is really, really hot. Those words, really, really hot, is not how you describe 20 middle-aged women trying to do hip-hop dancing, which is another thing we've done. We've gone to the opera. We've learned to arrange flowers. We've played broomball, gone bird watching, and done meditation. We've done a lot of things in 14 years, but the one thing we always do is laugh. This quote by John Katz really summarizes the Girls Party Girls for me. I think if I've learned anything about friendship, it's to hang in, stay connected and fight for them, and let them fight for you. Don't walk away. Don't be distracted. Don't be too busy or tired. Don't take them for granted. Friends are part of the glue that holds life and faith together. Powerful stuff. 5 years ago, my husband and I decided to move to a different community still in the Indianapolis area. We did so only with the promise from Vicky that I could still score an invite to the girls' party. That would have been a deal breaker. 3 months after we moved to the new community, I found out I had breast cancer. I didn't know any of my neighbors. But the Girls Party Girls fed my family and brought me small gifts every day to help me know I was loved, and I did feel that. At first, I thought God put these women in my life to laugh and have fun, but I found out later there were much bigger plans for them. I was recently talking to a gardener about friendship, and she told me about the concept of 2 a.m. friends. She shared that the measure of a good friend or of a true friend is that you wouldn't think twice about calling them up at 2 a.m. if you needed them. The Girls Party girls are my 2 a.m. friends. Though most of us are in an age where we're not sleeping well, so chances are pretty good they're up at 2 a.m. anyway. It's not that much of a sacrifice. When I moved to the new community, Jane and Stephanie were 2 women who, they were the first people to make me feel welcome and like I belonged. It's amazing how that awkward feeling of being the new kid never goes away despite how old you are. What's even more amazing is the difference you can make in someone's life just by reaching out to the new kid. My friendship with Jane and Stephanie reminds me of a story that someone shared with me while I was creating this message. It's a story of a boy named Christian Bucks. He's a 2nd grader at Roundtown Elementary School in Pennsylvania. He learned about the concept of a buddy bench from a school in Germany. Now, the way a buddy bench works is if a student feels lonely on the playground or that they don't have anyone to play with, they go sit on the buddy bench. And then another student will come to them and ask them if they want to talk or play. If 2 students are sitting on the buddy bench together, they make an agreement on what they want to do together. Christian noticed that even at his own school, there were kids that didn't have anyone to play with over recess, so he made the effort to acquire a buddy bench for his school. He described the buddy bench as having a purpose to grow our dream circle of friends. Personally, I think it would be really cool to have buddy benches all over the city for both children as well as adults. We all need a friend sometimes. I recently asked my 14-year-old son what friendship meant to him, and he said he thought it was someone who would back you up in a fight. Now, he wasn't talking about a bit of verbal sparring. He was talking about a physical fight, a fist fight. To be honest, I have never been in one of those, nor do I plan to. But I do know that if I were to be, that any of my friends would have my back, or at least get me out of there before I got hurt. The more I thought about it, the more I thought that his words of wisdom were pretty on spot. We might not be in physical fights, but we're all in a battle, aren't we? We're all fighting some kind of fight. We may be fighting for a family member, for our jobs. We may have to fight for what we believe in. We may sometimes fight for our sanity, our sobriety, our health, or just for ourselves. Whatever kind of fight we're in, it's good to know that we have people to have our back. Now, I realize that God isn't engineering the people to come in our world. But at the same time, I can't help but think about how good friendships really do feel like miracles. My friends have made me a stronger, better, and happier person. It has to be a God thing, and I do love them. Shel Silverstein once said, "How many slams in an old screen door? Depends how loud you shut it. How many slices in a loaf of bread? Depends how thick you cut it. How much good inside a day? Depends how good you live them. How much love inside a friend? Depends how much you give them." I hope that you will give your friends love today and every day.